Hello and welcome back to the Dragon Den. I'm KingofDragons 5000 and today I have another action figure review. Today I'll be taking a look at the Jakks specific Shadow the Hedgehog from Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the movie. Getting Shadow the Hedgehog out of his packaging, we're greeted to a very impressive figure. It's clear right off the bat that Jakks Specific went all out with this line, and Shadow the Hedgehog is an impressive figure. At first glances, he looks quite accurate to what we saw in the trailer, and I have no doubt it's going to be very accurate to the movie. Having a closer look at Shadow's details, there's a lot of things to look over as Jakks Specific has done a great job with Shadow. I'm actually amazed at the amount of details that they were able to put into this one figure. Taking a look at Shadow's head sculpt, I'm actually blown away by what we have here. The furrowed brow on Shadow does a really good job conveying his character. Add to it the way that they did his eyes is quite impressive, as it is a clear lens over the painted plastic. And the frown looks quite good here, and I love the way his quills are sculpted. The red paint done on his quills is actually really clean, and it goes on all 6 of his quills. Taking a look at Shadow's body, there's a lot of sculpted detailing here, especially with his fur. The fur is nicely sculpted and has a lot of detail to it, and one thing I love is the white tuft of fur in his chest. And just like with Sonic, he does have 3 additional quills on his back, and he does have his little tail. Shadow does have rather skinny arms, but it is quite accurate to the Shadow the Hedgehog model. The sculpt on the fur is still impressive here on his arms, and it goes all the way down to his restraining cuffs. On the back of each forearm he does have his little red streak, and there is some painted detail on his cuffs as well. And his gloves are just done in white plastic, and besides the fist there's really no details to speak of. And just like with his arms, he has these really skinny legs with some really nice sculpted fur detail. Just like with the back of his arms, the sides of Shadow's legs do have a red stripe, although on mine the left leg actually has the stripe painted on the wrong side. And there is some impressive detail sculpted here on Shadow's shoe. As you can see, the restraining cuffs are also done in this really nice yellow paint. We also do get some impressive texturing throughout his shoe, and the panel lining on the black part of his shoe is actually done really well. The red parts of his shoe are nicely painted as well, and I love the fact that they even painted his thrusters. Overall, Shadow is going to have more paint applications than Sonic the Hedgehog, but it is really nice and it's very clean. Besides the one error on mine where the left leg does have the red stripe on the wrong side, I'm still really loving the paint job here on Shadow. With his paint and details out of the way, let's compare Shadow to our usual suspects. Having a look at Shadow compared to our usual suspects, you can see that he's not going to be quite in scale to what we see in the movie. He is listed as a 5-inch figure, so he doesn't really scale well, although if you want to throw him in with video game scale, he does fit in nicely there. And of course, using some of the same parts, he's going to scale nicely with a Sonic figure. Having a look at Shadow's articulation, he has a ball joint in the head, butterfly joints in his shoulders, arms go out to the side and do a full 360. He has a bicep swivel and a figma joint in his elbow, a hinge and swivel in his wrist, as well as finger articulation. Shadow has a ball joint in his midsection. His legs do kick forward, go back, out to the side, and have a thigh swivel. He will have a figma style joint in the knee, a hinge in the ankle, and forward facing pin for rocker ankle. Just like with Sonic being a smaller figure, I'm blown away by the amount of articulation that Shadow has. The articulation is actually quite impressive, and you can get Shadow in a lot of dynamic poses. With everything said and done about Shadow the Hedgehog, let's get him posed for my final thoughts. One thing I was not expecting was to be blown away by the amount of detail and articulation that Jakks Pacific was able to put into Shadow the Hedgehog. This is one figure that I'm absolutely blown away with, as I wasn't expecting it to be as good a figure as it actually is. The level of detail that Jakks was able to put into this figure is quite impressive, and I'm blown away by the first sculpt. Add to it the expression that they sculpted on him is quite impressive, and I love the way it looks on this version of Shadow. One thing I am disappointed in is that Shadow doesn't come with any accessories. We don't get any rings, not even a Chaos Emerald. But because the movie isn't out yet, I really can't say that he should have come with something, but overall, Jakks Pacific has done an exceptional job here with Shadow. And I'm still blown away by the amount of articulation that Shadow has. As being a smaller figure, you don't normally expect articulation to be this good on a figure this small. And I am happy to say that there are no issues with loose joints. Everything on him is tight and it works perfectly. At the time of making this video, the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 figures are actually quite hard to come by, as I was actually looking for Shadow and I wasn't expecting to find him at my local Target. Picking up Shadow, I knew I had to get Sonic as well, and thankfully both of them were on the shelf, and I think the price point on them is actually perfect for them. At $15, you really can't go wrong with a figure that has this much articulation and this level of detail. If you're a fan of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, or a fan of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle like I am, this is one figure that I highly recommend you track down and add to your collection. Thank you for once again taking the time out of your day to watch another video here on the Dragon Den. But before you go, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and check out the rest of my action figure videos. If you're in a position to help out the Dragon Den, check out my Patreon where I have some exclusive content and early access videos. Check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, videos, recent pickups, latest prints, and as always, ring that bell so you never miss another video. And until next time, my loyal Dragonites coming from the Dragon Den, I'm KingofDragons 5000 reminding you to redesign, rebuild, and reclaim. I'll see you next time.